Written by Short Free Audiobooks. Introduction: The Burnout Paradox. Her alarm sounds at 4:55 a.m. before the sun has even considered rising. Maya is awake. Her life is a monument to optimization. The first 2 hours of her day are a sacred ritual, a 5 to 9 routine meticulously curated from the advice of a dozen online mentors she follows with near religious devotion. There is meditation, a gratitude journal, affirmations spoken into a mirror, a cold plunge, and a green smoothie. She is crushing it. She works a 70-hour week as a marketing manager, fueled by an endless stream of motivational quotes about the grind and earning it that populate her social media feeds. She is doing everything right. She is chasing financial freedom, building her personal brand, and hustling harder than anyone she knows. Yet, as she stares at her laptop screen late into the night, a profound and terrifying feeling washes over her. It is not the energizing fire of ambition, it is the cold, hollow ache of exhaustion. She feels anxious, irritable, and disconnected from her own life. A sense of inadequacy gnaws at her, a persistent feeling that despite all her effort, she is somehow falling further behind. She is working harder than ever to achieve freedom, but she has never felt more trapped. This is the great burnout paradox of our time. Why are the most ambitious, disciplined, and dedicated followers of self-improvement burning out the fastest? Why do the people who are doing all the right things feel so utterly exhausted, hopeless, and depleted? The answer is that this is not a paradox, it is a business model. Modern burnout, an epidemic that has touched 79% of the American workforce, is not merely an unfortunate side effect of a demanding world. It is a manufactured crisis, engineered and sold by a multi-billion-dollar, fake guru industry that profits directly from your exhaustion. The World Health Organization, or WHO, has officially recognized burnout as an occupational phenomenon resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It is defined by 3 core dimensions: feelings of energy depletion, increased mental distance or cynicism towards one's job, and a sense of reduced professional efficacy. These are not just feelings, they are symptoms. And they are being systematically induced on a mass scale. To understand how we got here, we must first dissect the cultural soil that made millions of ambitious people so vulnerable to this new form of exploitation. We must examine a modern religion that turned overwork into a virtue and exhaustion into a status symbol. Before we can expose the gurus, we must first understand their gospel, the gospel of hustle. Chapter 1: The Gospel of Hustle: How Overwork Became a Religion. A high-energy social media video flashes across the screen. A charismatic influencer, brimming with confidence, shouts into the camera, "No days off. Your dreams don't work unless you do." The message is seductive, a call to arms for the ambitious. But it stands in stark contrast to a cold, hard economic reality. Since 1979, productivity in the United States has soared by an astonishing 62%. During that same period, the inflation-adjusted hourly wages for the vast majority of American workers have crawled up by a mere 16%. The promise that hard work will be rewarded in equal measure has been fundamentally broken. This chasm between effort and reward is the fertile ground where hustle culture took root. The rise of hustle culture. The term hustle traces its origins back to the Dutch word husselen, meaning to shake or toss. By the late 19th century, it had become associated with hard, vigorous work. But its modern incarnation as a cultural ideology was forged in the fires of the 1970s technological revolution. As tech companies began to dominate the market in the 1990s, a new norm was established. Young employees were expected to embrace overwork, with successful entrepreneurs lionizing excessive hours as a form of liberation. With the explosion of social media in the 2000s, this ethos went viral. Hustle culture became a global phenomenon, an all-encompassing belief system that equates busyness with productivity, exhaustion with accomplishment, and, most dangerously, self-worth with professional success. This ideology is not just a trend, it is a deeply ingrained psychological trap. People embrace it for a complex mix of reasons. There is the primal desire for success, the need for impression management in a world where careers are performed online, and the influence of a cognitive bias known as the just world heuristic, the deep-seated, often unconscious, belief that the world is fair and that hard work must eventually lead to success. This mindset makes people profoundly vulnerable, especially young people in Gen Z and the millennial generation, who have been conditioned by school grading systems and social media to measure their value by their ability to produce, excel, and outperform. Toxic productivity, the dark side of the grind. The relentless emphasis on constant work gives rise to a dangerous psychological state, toxic productivity. This is not the healthy drive of ambition but a compulsive, guilt-ridden need to be productive at all times, even at the expense of well-being and leisure. It is the feeling of anxiety that creeps in when you try to rest, the little voice that whispers you are being lazy for taking a break. This is not a harmless quirk of the modern worker, it is a public health crisis in the making. The World Health Organization has reported that overworking is responsible for an estimated 745,000 deaths per year from stroke and ischemic heart disease. A study in the Journal of Occupational Health found that the risk of work-related burnout doubles when an employee moves from a 40-hour workweek to a 60-hour one. Yet, in a hustle-obsessed culture, these extended hours are often worn as a badge of honor. Hustle culture is not just the backdrop for the fake guru phenomenon. It is the primary engine that generates the demand for their products. The gurus are not selling an escape from the hustle, they are selling a supposedly smarter way to hustle. The process is a closed, predatory loop. First, real economic pressures, like the productivity wage gap, create a genuine need for people to work more or find alternative income streams. Second, hustle culture reframes this economic anxiety as a noble personal ambition, a grind to be celebrated. Third, this relentless, unrewarding grind inevitably leads to profound feelings of exhaustion, inadequacy, and being overwhelmed. This creates a vast and desperate market of individuals searching for a shortcut, a proven system, or a secret that will allow them to achieve the success promised by the hustle without the immense suffering it entails. Finally, fake gurus step into this void. They position their online courses not as a way to rest or find balance, but as a way to optimize the hustle for maximum financial gain, a seductive promise to work smarter, not harder, which in practice simply means work non-stop, but with nicer fonts. The guru economy, therefore, thrives by creating and then monetizing the very desperation that hustle culture manufactures. This culture of desperate, overworked believers created the perfect flock. They were praying for a savior to lead them out of the 9-to-5 desert and into the promised land of financial freedom. And right on cue, an army of digital prophets appeared on their social media feeds, each holding a map to paradise. But as the next chapter reveals, the map was a mirage, and the prophets were predators. Chapter 2. The Guru's Blueprint, Anatomy of a Digital Deception. The deception begins with a flash of curated perfection. An advertisement slides into your social media feed, a 30-second window into a life you crave. A charismatic figure steps off a rented private jet, climbs into a gleaming sports car, and gestures towards a sprawling mansion overlooking the ocean. The pitch is always the same. They have discovered a secret, a proven system for wealth, and for a limited time, they are willing to share it. You click the link. You land on a slickly designed page promising a free masterclass that will change your life. You enter your email address, a small price to pay for the keys to the kingdom. For the next 90 minutes, you are subjected to a masterclass in persuasion, a carefully scripted performance designed to amplify your deepest insecurities about money, freedom, and purpose. The guru tells a compelling rags-to-riches story, making them relatable. They paint a vivid picture of the freedom lifestyle you could have. Then, they pivot to your pain points, reminding you of the drudgery of your 9-to-5 job, the bills piling up, the dreams gathering dust. Just as you feel the weight of your own circumstances most acutely, the solution is presented, their exclusive online course. And then, the final masterstroke appears on the screen, a countdown timer. Special offer ends in 10 minutes. Only 3 spots left. The pressure is immense. Your logical mind is screaming, but an emotional tidal wave is pulling you in. The business model of deception. The core truth of the fake guru industry is simple. They do not get rich using the methods they teach. Whether it's dropshipping, Amazon FBA, or crypto trading, the actual business model is rarely the source of their wealth. They get rich by selling you expensive courses on how to supposedly use those methods. The financial incentive for this deception is astronomical. The online course market, a component of the larger e-learning industry, was valued at over $251 billion in 2024 and is projected to explode to over $1 trillion by 2032. The online coaching segment alone was valued at $3.2 billion in 2022 and is expected to reach $11.7 billion by 2032. With this much money at stake, the market has become flooded with charlatans who have mastered the art of marketing, not the art of business. The psychological toolkit of a predator. The sales pitch is a form of psychological warfare. The limited spots and countdown timers are classic marketing tactics rooted in the psychology of FOMO, or the fear of missing out. By creating a sense of urgency and scarcity, they are designed to bypass your rational brain and trigger an impulsive, emotional decision to buy. When an opportunity is presented as scarce, our brains perceive it as more valuable. When it is time-sensitive, we are driven by loss aversion, the fear of missing out on the opportunity forever. Even more chilling are the direct parallels between the tactics of online gurus and the manipulative methods employed by high-control groups and cults. The playbook is eerily similar. First, love bombing. The process begins by showering potential recruits with attention, validation, and free value. This is the free webinar or the free ebook. It is designed to create a sense of reciprocity and loyalty, making the target feel indebted to the leader before a single dollar has been spent. Second, isolation. Gurus often encourage their followers to distance themselves from skeptical friends and family, labeling them as haters or negative influences who don't understand your ambition. This tactic isolates the victim from outside perspectives, making them more dependent on the guru's exclusive community for validation and support. Third, the charismatic leader. The guru meticulously crafts a persona as an all-knowing, unquestionable authority figure who possesses secret knowledge that can solve all of their followers' problems. They become a modern-day digital prophet, a Jim Jones or Keith Raniere for the internet age, demanding faith over critical thought. The entire system is designed to break down a person's critical faculties and exploit their deepest emotional vulnerabilities. The following table illustrates this manipulative matrix, connecting the guru's sales tactics to their underlying psychological principles and their cult parallels. Guru tactic, psychological principle, cult parallel, follower's internal monologue. The free, high-value webinar uses reciprocity and commitment bias, a form of love bombing, making you think they're giving so much value for free. They must really care. I owe them my attention. The phrase, "only 3 spots left," uses scarcity and urgency, or FOMO, creating exclusivity and elitism, making you think, this is a rare chance. If I don't act now, I'll be left behind forever. The promise of my secret proven system uses an appeal to authority and the guru archetype, positioning them as a charismatic leader with secret knowledge, making you think, they have the answer I've been looking for. Only they can solve my problem. The use of curated testimonials and social proof uses social proof and in-group bias, a form of indoctrination and peer pressure, making you think, look at all these other people succeeding. The system must work. If it doesn't work for me, the fault must be mine. The advice to don't listen to the haters uses creating an us versus them mentality, a form of isolation from the outside world, making you think, my friends and family just don't understand. They're holding me back. Only people in this group get it. The sales pitch is a masterpiece of psychological manipulation. You have paid your $5,000, perhaps maxing out a credit card in a moment of desperate hope. You are finally on the inside. You are ready to learn the secret to success. But what you are about to discover is that the product you just bought is not the cure for your financial anxiety and exhaustion. It is the cause. You have just entered the failure loop. Chapter 3. The failure loop. How they sell your failure back to you. The illusion shatters not with a bang, but with the quiet, grinding reality of failure. This is not an anecdotal observation. It is a pattern documented by consumer protection agencies. In a landmark case, the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, took action against Learn, Incorporated, an online business coaching company. The FTC found that despite outlandish promises of stay-at-home millionaire status and claims that students could fail 98% of the time and still be able to make $11,453 per month, the reality was starkly different. Very few, if any, consumers actually made money. Instead, thousands of people purchase tens of millions of dollars worth of programs, leaving them with nothing but broken dreams and significant debt. This case is not an anomaly, it is the industry standard. Introducing the failure loop. The guru's business model is not predicated on their students' success. It is predicated on their failure. This is achieved through a masterful, three-step psychological trap called the failure loop, designed to extract maximum profit while absolving the guru of all responsibility. Step 1. The inevitable failure. The proven system you paid thousands for is designed to fail for the vast majority of users. The methods taught, like dropshipping or Amazon FBA, are often outdated, highly saturated, or require far more capital, technical skill, and marketing expertise than is ever disclosed in the sales pitch. The follower invests their time, energy, and borrowed money, but the promised results never materialize. They are left with mounting expenses and a gnawing sense of disappointment. Step 2. The blame shift. This is the most critical and abusive step in the loop. When the follower expresses frustration or questions why the system isn't working, they are not met with support or technical guidance. Instead, the guru and their community of indoctrinated followers deploy a series of manipulative, blame-shifting tactics. The failure is never attributed to the flawed system, it is always placed squarely on the victim. Common refrains include, "You didn't want it badly enough. You didn't follow the system exactly as I taught it. Your mindset is the problem. You have a poverty consciousness that's holding you back. You're making excuses. You need to take 100% responsibility." This is a classic verbal abuse tactic known as blame shifting, designed to make the target feel guilty and ashamed. By focusing on supposed flaws in the victim's character, their lack of commitment, their bad mindset, their negativity, the guru absolves their worthless product of any fault and makes the victim believe the failure is entirely their own. Step 3. The upsell as the cure. Once the victim has internalized this blame and is drowning in self-doubt, the guru presents a new solution. The problem is no longer their lack of a business. The new problem is their flawed mindset or lack of advanced knowledge. And the cure, conveniently, is another, more expensive product. This often takes the form of an elite mastermind group, a platinum coaching package, or one-on-one mentorship, with price tags that can run into the tens of thousands of dollars. The victim, desperate to fix what they now believe is their own personal failing, often pays up, sinking deeper into debt and restarting the loop at a higher, more damaging level. If you are enjoying this story, please take a moment to subscribe. The smokescreen of toxic positivity. This entire abusive cycle is shrouded in a thick fog of toxic positivity. The guru's community often enforces a strict, positive vibes-only culture. Genuine negative emotions like frustration, disappointment, or anger are not tolerated. They are reframed as evidence of a bad mindset or a victim mentality. This invalidates the follower's legitimate experience of being scammed. It shames them into silence and makes them feel isolated and defective for having perfectly normal reactions to failure and financial loss. The pressure to pretend everything is fine, to constantly perform positivity, becomes an exhausting emotional burden on top of the financial and professional stress. The primary product being sold in these high-ticket courses is not information or a business strategy. It is a psychological commodity, absolution from self-doubt. Followers are often drawn to these programs because they are plagued by insecurity and a deep-seated fear of failure. They lack the confidence to trust their own judgment. The guru's charismatic certainty, the "I'm 100% confident we can help you" promise, is intoxicating. Buying the course feels like buying certainty itself. When the system inevitably fails, the blame-shifting tactic, "it's your mindset's fault," cruelly reinforces the follower's original insecurity. Their deepest fear is confirmed. "I knew it. I am the problem." This makes them more dependent on the guru, not less. They crave the leader's validation and certainty even more desperately. In this way, the failure of the course is not a bug, it is a feature. It is engineered to systematically dismantle a follower's self-trust and create a psychological dependency that can only be serviced by buying more of the guru's counterfeit certainty in the form of ever more expensive products. You are now trapped. You are working frantically to implement a failing system, sinking deeper into debt, and utterly convinced that it is all your fault. This relentless cycle of unrewarded effort, mounting financial pressure, and crushing self-blame is not just a bad business experience. It has a clinical name, and it is dismantling your health from the inside out. It is called Burnout. Chapter 4. The Burnout Diagnosis, When the Hustle Hijacks Your Health. Pause and consider the official definition of burnout from the World Health Organization's 11th revision of the International Classification of Diseases, or ICD-11. It is not simply feeling tired or stressed. It is a specific, diagnosable syndrome conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It is characterized by 3 distinct and measurable dimensions. Does this sound familiar? Mapping the guru's system to clinical burnout. The failure loop described in the previous chapter is not just a clever scam. It is a near-perfect blueprint for inducing clinical burnout. Each step of the guru's manipulative process maps directly onto one of the 3 core pillars of the diagnosis. Number 1. Dimension 1. Feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion. This is the most visible symptom of burnout. It is the direct result of the hustle culture mandate to work non-stop, often for 60, 70, or even 80 hours a week. A workload that research shows doubles the risk of burnout. This physical exhaustion is compounded by the immense emotional stress of mounting financial losses and the psychological labor required to constantly perform positivity and suppress genuine feelings of frustration and despair. The follower is running on empty, their gas tank completely drained, leading to chronic fatigue, sleep disturbances, and even physical symptoms like headaches and stomach problems. Number 2. Dimension 2. Increased mental distance, negativism, or cynicism. This dimension describes a sense of alienation from one's work and goals. For the guru's follower, this is the inevitable consequence of the ever-widening gap between the promised dream of financial freedom and the grim reality of their situation. The initial hope and excitement curdle into a deep-seated cynicism and negativity. They become emotionally detached from the very ambition that once fueled them, a defense mechanism against constant disappointment. This is the stage of depersonalization, where life feels meaningless and one sees themselves merely as a vessel for completing tasks, stripped of identity and purpose. Number 3. Dimension 3. Reduced professional efficacy. This is the most insidious and damaging dimension of burnout, and it is directly engineered by the guru's blame-shifting tactics. After being told repeatedly that their failure is their own fault, a result of their flawed mindset, lack of belief, or insufficient effort, followers begin to internalize a profound sense of incompetence and inadequacy. They lose all confidence in their own skills and abilities. They start to believe the guru's narrative, that they are, in fact, a failure. This fulfills the guru's prophecy and locks the victim into a state of learned helplessness, making them even more dependent on the guru for guidance. This is not a random occurrence. The data reveals a chilling correlation. Studies show that burnout rates are highest among younger workers, particularly those in the 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 age brackets. This is the exact demographic most aggressively targeted by online influencers and coaching programs, with the 18 to 30 age group representing the largest share of the online coaching market. The connection is not a coincidence, it is a causal link. Legitimate, evidence-based recovery from burnout involves a clear set of strategies, acknowledging the reality of the situation, setting firm boundaries to protect one's time and energy, and seeking external social and professional support. The guru's system is a perfect inversion of this healing process. It actively teaches its followers to do the exact opposite. Where recovery demands acknowledging reality, the guru demands toxic positivity and the denial of negative emotions. Where recovery requires setting boundaries, the guru demands a 24/7 hustle and the demolition of any work-life balance. Where recovery relies on seeking support from trusted friends, family, and professionals, the guru demands isolation from these negative external influences. Following a fake guru is not just a path to burnout, it is an active indoctrination into a system that makes recovery from burnout psychologically impossible as long as you remain within it. It is a trap that is designed to seal its own exits. The guru has taken your ambition, your money, and your well-being, leaving you exhausted, cynical, and feeling like a failure. The system is designed to keep you trapped, but the human spirit is resilient. The first step to dismantling any prison is realizing you are in one. And thousands of people are beginning to see the bars. Conclusion: reclaiming your ambition. The awakening often comes as a quiet, gut-wrenching realization. It is the moment the cognitive dissonance becomes too much to bear, the moment you look at the mountain of debt, the sleepless nights, the broken promises, and the profound exhaustion, and a new thought cuts through the fog of self-blame. The system is the problem, not me. It is the moment you stop listening to the guru's voice and start trusting your own intuition again. For many who have escaped these high-control digital groups, this is the first step on the long road to recovery. This final chapter is not more self-help. It is a deprogramming manual, a practical guide to reclaiming your life from the grip of the guru economy. Step 1. Recognize the manipulation, the red flag checklist. Protecting yourself begins with recognizing the tactics of deception. Be wary of any self-proclaimed mentor who exhibits these signs. First, extravagant promises, claims of guaranteed, rapid wealth, earn 6 figures in 90 days, or effortless success are the hallmarks of a scam. Real business takes time, effort, and skill. Second, overly focused on money and lifestyle. If their marketing is filled with rented jets, fast cars, and stacks of cash, they are selling an illusion, not a business education. They are targeting your desperation, not your ambition. Third, high-pressure sales tactics. The use of FOMO, countdown timers, and limited spots is designed to force an impulsive decision. A legitimate educator will give you time to think and research. Fourth, lack of transparency. Vague explanations of their business model, secretive teachings, and an unwillingness to show verifiable proof of their own success outside of selling courses are major red flags. And fifth, blame and manipulation. Any leader who blames you for their system's failures, encourages you to isolate yourself from dissenters, or uses your emotions to control you is not a mentor. They are an abuser. Step 2. Escape the failure loop. Healthy reframing. The guru's most toxic lesson is that failure is a character flaw. You must unlearn this. In healthy personal and professional development, failure is not a verdict. It is data. It is an opportunity to reset, learn, and grow. Acknowledge what happened. Instead of dwelling on negative emotions, analyze the situation objectively. What went wrong? What did you learn? What external factors were at play? This shifts the focus from self-blame to constructive learning. Embrace a growth mindset. As Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck's research shows, individuals with a growth mindset see challenges and failures as opportunities to improve their abilities. They believe they are learning, not failing. In contrast, a fixed mindset, the kind fostered by gurus, views failure as proof of permanent inadequacy. Reclaim the narrative. You did not fail. You learned a very expensive lesson about a deceptive industry. Step 3. Manage the aftermath, financial and emotional recovery. The damage from these schemes is both financial and emotional. Recovery requires addressing both. For financial recovery, the first step is to stop the bleeding. Do not invest any more money in upsells or new programs. Take a full inventory of your financial situation, including all debts incurred. While recovering lost funds is difficult, it is not always impossible. Report the scam to the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov and to your state attorney general. This helps authorities build cases against fraudulent operators and, in some instances, can lead to restitution for victims. For emotional recovery, the psychological fallout from these high-control environments can be severe, mirroring the trauma experienced by those leaving cults. It is critical to break the isolation. Talk to trusted friends and family about your experience. Seek professional help from a therapist, particularly one experienced in trauma or manipulation, to help you process the feelings of shame, guilt, and betrayal. The goal is to rebuild your ability to trust your own judgment. Step 4. Redefine success. The final step is to reclaim your ambition by redefining what success means to you. The guru's version of success is a shallow performance of wealth. True success is sustainable, fulfilling, and aligned with your own values. This involves understanding the profound difference between a fake guru and a true mentor. A guru demands you follow them in all areas of life, offering easy answers and demanding blind faith. A true mentor is a practitioner with deep, real-world experience in a specific skill. They do not offer a magic formula for life. They share their hard-won knowledge, ask difficult questions, and empower you to find your own answers. They foster independent thought, not dependency. Hustle culture told you that your exhaustion was the price of admission. The gurus told you that your failure was your fault. The truth is that your ambition was never the problem. It was the target. Reclaim it. Your success is not measured by how hard you can grind, but by how freely you can live.